Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Wednesday. It's Self-Care Wednesday. I'm a bit of a hot mess this morning. I'm still so tired from the weekend. I know, and it's already Wednesday, right? My weekend didn't end until Monday. So, all the things. Um, it's Self-Care Wednesday. We're going to be muddy twinless today. Today's our bestie day. So, yeah, I'm just going to keep it simple. Got something a little different for tomorrow, but today I'm just going to keep it simple. We're just going to do the mindful messages for Self-Care Wednesday and see what we come up with, yeah? So, it's been a while since I've done these, huh? I know. Well, I guess those fell out. All right, one more shuffle, see what happens. I'm feeling just a little spiritually off today. I know I said one more time and I'm still going. I feel like there's one more in here. Just one more. There it is. New adventures. That must be a sign. Let's take it as a sign. But all right. So there's those. Self-Care Wednesday coming right up. All right, let's see. Let's just mix these up a little bit. Here and there. All right, I don't know how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a good number. Hey, that's a sign, right? Because today is technically a 777. It's the 7th month, and even though it's the 16th in numerology, you would add the 1 and the 6 for 7, and it's 2025, right? But we just would do the year, so 25, so there's 777. So, you got your little fun fact for the day. All right, so let's see. Number 1 on the self-care scale. Not necessarily. There's no order to these, all right? Dance it out. I can move emotions through my body by dancing. Whenever I start to feel built-up energy or crankiness, I will play some music and move intuitively. I don't have to look a certain way. Simply move and feel as the stress or heaviness begins to ease out of my body. Yes, dancing can be a huge release. I mean, it can be a huge release. I am the kind of person that will dance when no one's watching. I know. Why? I don't know, because I just feel like I look stupid when I dance. But that's me. That's all me. So anyways, yeah, dance it out. Sorry. Nothing like the first cup of Java in the morning, right? So yeah, there you go. Look, that little homie right there is just like, yeah, I don't care what I look like. I'm just going to dance it out. That's right, bitches. I had to add that last part. So anyways, yeah, just dance it out, okay? And, it doesn't matter what it looks like, right? I mean, just let yourself go. Let all that stuff go as you're dancing. Just let it whoosh right off of you. Oh, good morning, cousin. Thank you. It was a nice couple of days off from doing the show. I almost didn't do it today, but I'm like, no, you need to get your butt back up, or this is not going to happen. So yeah. Let's see the next one. All is okay. This person looks like they're giving themselves a hug, which is not a bad thing because hugs are amazing. All that I feel is okay. I hold myself in love through the unsureness, the worry, doubt, anger, fear, anxiety, rejection, or overwhelm. I am thankful to feel the full range of emotions that I do. These emotions are the very contrast that leads to my higher expansion. Yeah, God, I really needed this one today. Like, legit needed that one today. All that I feel is okay. I hold myself in love through the unsureness, the worry, the doubt, the anger, the fear, the anxiety, rejection, or overwhelm. I am thankful to feel the full range of emotions that I do. These emotions are the very contrast that leads to higher expansion. So what they're trying to say there, in my perspective, that I'm trying to figure out, is even when you're not sure about what's happening, you know what? I was like, why can't I hear the gardener? I forgot to close the window. So sorry about that, guys. You guys get to hear the gardener too. But, we probably sit there and we think, like, how can I hold myself in love when I feel all kinds of emotions? Well, that's the best time to hold yourself in love. When you are angry, when you are sad. What is it here? Fear, anxiety, rejection, overwhelm, worry, doubt, unsureness. these are typical emotions. These are emotions that we go through because we're human, you know? I mean, can't get away from being that. We are human. And as humans, we go through these range of emotions. So, sorry, I think it's one of my Celtic symbols. But yeah, sorry, this is why I almost took the day off, because I totally lost my train of thought. It is not a bad thing to hold yourself in love, no matter what you are feeling, because that's how we come back to center. That's how we come back to who we are, to that middle place that we need to be at, because, you know, it's where we start from, right? It's where we move from. And if we're out here feeling unsure, if we're out here feeling anger and anxiety and depression and rejection and fear, worry, doubt, you know, the whole gamut, you know, we have to hold ourselves in love. I mean, look at it here. I hold myself in love. Okay, you holding yourself in love. This is why she's hugging herself, or this person, this, you know, they are hugging themselves. But look at everything that follows. Unsureness, worry, doubt, anger, fear, anxiety, rejection, overwhelm. One word wipes out these next 8 things. Okay? I mean, there's 8 ways that they're expressing how you can feel off. But there's one word, love, right? That brings us back to center. And when we hold ourselves in love, even when we do dumb things, right? Maybe we made a bad choice. Maybe we yelled at someone we didn't want to yell at. Maybe we were just not on point that day and we were the complete asshole. Hold yourself in love, okay? And bring yourself back to center. Make any, you know, apologies and amends that you need to do. Because a lot of times when we're lashing out, it's not always us, right? It's not always us. Sometimes it's just this anger or this pain. And if you've had trauma brain, a lot of times it's that, and it just comes up and it gets worse, and then you dig yourself a hole because you don't want to be the wrong person. You don't want to be the person that, you know, is at the center of all this animosity. And so, you know, they just keep going, or we keep going, and it's just like, no, make your amends. I'm telling you, when we take accountability for our actions, it sets you free. Okay, and I know that from personal experience. When we take accountability for our actions, it will set you free. It may not feel like it, because it does feel embarrassing, right? And if you have had trauma brain and you are lashing out, the last thing you want to do is feel like you're wrong, right? But that's how we heal. That's where healing comes from. So remember, hold yourself in love. Number 3, hold lightly. That's interesting. Hold lightly and all is okay. But there's lots of hugs happening here. I got lots of hugs on Monday. I attended a friend's wedding, and I have known this kid since he was like 5 or 6. So it was, and I've known the family for over 20 years. So, you know, courtesy of older sibling kind of brought me into that fold. But yeah, beautiful wedding, and got lots of hugs, and I love hugs. I love hugs. So hold lightly. I take things and people that come into my life lightly, not holding on too tight, so that when it comes time for them to go, they may go smoothly. This does not mean I love any less or not value, but that I am open to the changes of life. Okay, I see what this means. They're not saying hold them at a distance. What they're saying is that just go with the flow. You know, some people come into our life for a reason or a season, right? And or forever. And if it's a reason, that means growth in one direction or another, or to help you along your journey. If it's a season, then, you know, it means not very long, obviously. And I probably really don't need to explain this to you, but just in case I am. But I know you're all smart people out there. But a lot of times I don't think we think about this, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that friendship's over. I can't believe this, you know, is gone, that this is blah, blah, blah. And then we look back and we think, wow, this person actually really did touch my life. Or this person, you know, I learned a lot about myself when I was around them. Or I learned a lot about myself when the relationship fell aside. And by relationship, I mean any across the board, friendship, romantic, family, whatever. But hold tightly, because this also talks about grief without saying the word grief. Change is hard. When you lose somebody, change is definitely hard, whether it's to just, just moving in different directions, or, they've met their ultimate end. And it can be hard at first, because especially when someone passes, right? Or even if they pass unexpectedly, because you feel like you're just kind of flailing in the wind. Like you're just, somebody dropped you off of a skyscraper and you're just like, what do I do? And you don't know how to flap your wings. And then maybe when all feels lost and you feel like you're sinking into the abyss, somehow you just learn to flap those wings and start flying. And that doesn't mean you forget, especially when it comes to grief. That doesn't mean that, when you move forward and you move on, that you're moving away from this person and their memory. No, it just means that you're moving forward with the knowledge you have accumulated during your healing process on how to handle this. And, if we're going to talk a little bit about this tomorrow. Grief is not going to be the subject tomorrow, but it's going to, encompass our subject tomorrow. I know you're like, why are you keeping that a surprise? Because I am. But grief isn't going to be the subject. But like I said, it's going to, the subject tomorrow will be encompassing grief. And I don't mean grief as in somebody walked away from me. I mean when we lose somebody. So I know, stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. But, if you're going to watch tomorrow, you got to come in with a very, very open mind. Okay, a very open mind. But just touching on this, and I'll probably touch on it a little bit tomorrow. When people are grieving, there is no time limit. Okay, there is no time limit. I learned that the hard way. I used to always tell sibling, it's like, oh, sibling, this, that, and the other. And, she was handling it her way. And then I lost my mom. And I was like, oh, and all this preparedness that I thought I had, I did not. I absolutely did not. And, I found myself flailing in the wind, falling into the abyss. And somewhere along the way, as I healed a plethora of things, I found my footing. Do I miss my mom? Yeah, every day. Do I think about her? Yes, every day. I think of Sissy Joe every day. Sibling and I, we have a lot of people that we've lost between each other, like her parents, her stepmom, and, of course, Sissy Joe and my mom, and we were all very close. And, we've lost these people and, some of our own family that I got to know over time. And, granted, they all don't normally just pop, but, Mom and Sissy Joe, not a day goes by that I don't think about them, that they don't hit my brain in some direction or another. And so, we learn how to go with the flow. Sometimes I cry, sometimes I feel blue about it. Most times I laugh, because when I'm thinking about him, it's probably some silly thing that we all went through. So grieving is a personal journey. All right. So follow my joy. And that's interesting. Comes right after go with the flow, right? Right after go with the flow. So follow my joy. Today I will write down 10 things I enjoy, the things that make me feel good and raise my mood. Then I'll pick one for as many as I feel guided, or as many as I feel guided to, and go do it. When I am having fun and enjoying life, I am in a state of allowing for all that I desire. I'll post this one in the comments, all right? Because I need to do that today too. I need to get back to my center. I'm just going back and forth is very discombobulating for my mental state. So I'm just kind of like, but as you can see, my door grew a backpack. That's Comic-Con backpack, and I couldn't find it last year. But that's because when you put things in a safe place so you can find them again. Well, apparently I put my Doctor Who lanyard in there too, because I can't find that now. But I found my backpack. So, not quite a win, but a win. So, and that's my favorite Comic-Con backpack. So, yeah, I do have another one that I brought to London with me, but this one, I got it because the water pockets are big. I know, you're like, I really don't care, but you know what? It's my show, so, you're going to care. So yeah, Comic-Con backpack growing off the door. So Yeah, and for anyone that does go to these things, and in case anybody watches this that might go to Comic Con, always be prepared. Okay, my very first Comic Con, I was so ill prepared it wasn't even funny, and I had guidance because one of my besties, Sean, who I get to see every year at Comic Con. He's like, well, you need to do this, you need to do this, and I was so overwhelmed. I was just like, what? I was so overwhelmed I could not see straight, and so I was like, I had no water. And, I was so shy back then. It's like I didn't want to ask anyone to watch my seat or anything. So basically, I sat in one room for about 10 hours and just kind of like, with my camera and very limited resources. So now, backpack. But you don't have to weigh it down, okay? You do not have to weigh it down. If you have parking, leave stuff in the car that you probably won't need till later if it's not a long journey. Just there's all these different things, okay? And on the heels of that, we have play. Play. Oh, yes. And hydrate. Please hydrate. Even though it's in downtown and it's breezy down there, it gets freaking humid sometimes. Okay. Maybe not humid for all you Southerners that come in, or even some of you East Coasters that come in. But for us Southern Californians, that can be humid. Okay, 67 to 70% can be humid. So just hydrate. All right. I believe the convention center does have fountains inside where you can fill your water bottle. So just bring a water bottle. Oh, and battery chargers. Always bring your battery charger. All right. So, all right. That's enough of that. I know you can tell I'm excited because technically it starts a week from today, but I start a week from tomorrow. So I did not get preview night this year. So anyways, all right. I'm completely engaged in what I do. In the here and now, I call it play instead of work. I am deeply fulfilled by all that I do. All right. So I am going to go back to Comic-Con for a second because I had the opportunity to meet someone once, and I was getting something signed for one of my other best friends. I have a lot of best friends. I have a lot of besties, but my NorCal bestie, and I was getting something signed for her, and they're just like, wow, that's a lot of work. Because, these people that come in and they do all this stuff, they think they go through a lot of work. We go through a lot of work. You got to wake up the ass crack of dawn. If there's certain things you want to see, you got to get in line. There's so much that goes into going. But the funny thing is if you ask anyone, especially people that have been going for years, I've been going for years now. I think this is my 17th year. I believe it's my 17th year. And that includes the year that there was no Comic-Con because of COVID. But I've been going since 2008. So, but it doesn't feel, sometimes you kind of need a vacation from the vacation, but it's so much fun. And, you get to see people you don't normally get to see. And by that, I mean because Bestie lives in Canada. And so, this is about the one time a year, unless there's a special trip down there, that we get to see each other. So, it's nice because you get to hang out, and then, and then everybody does their own things. And then, hey, you run into each other in the halls, and, it's so random. It's so random. Sometimes you make new friends. And, but that's all about play. It's just about having fun, right? And if you ask anybody that's been going for a long time, yeah, they sit there and they make their schedule, checklist, and all this other stuff, but it's something that we love. It's no different than planning for a vacation, except we're planning for our days. And, that is a bit of fun play, and it does get crowded. You just have to learn how to take a deep breath. Meditation has helped me a lot. Breathe in. So, and you get to see a lot of people in their cosplay. See what I did there? Cosplay. And that's amazing. And, so I love to stop people and take pictures because they work so hard. They work so hard on their costumes and everything. And, that's one of the reasons they do it is to kind of just, they love to dress up. They love to represent their character, but it's nice to, have your hard work admired. So, if you're going again, don't be shy. Just say, hey, can I get your picture? And then sometimes they're running to a panel. So, just don't take your time, just click and let them go. So anyways, again, I'm completely engaged in what I do in the here and now. I call it play instead of work. I am deeply fulfilled by all that I do. So yeah, if you have a hobby or, even if you go to work, right, make it fun. Make it fun. Sometimes when I would get bored, I would just, pretend I was in some kind of like sci-fi movie working on a computer. I know it sounds dumb, but that's my writer's mind. That's my writer's mind going hard to work. And it's just like, yeah, this will get me through it. It's like I'm entering some kind of secret codes when really it's nothing more than just clicking on appraisals and stuff. So, but hey, whatever you have to do to make it fun. Or, you know, if you're on your lunch break or you're on your break, go have fun, do stuff, you know, just enjoy life. When we make things feel like it's work, it is going to feel like work. It is going to feel, you know, just so soul crushing, and just like, you know, your entire universe is just collapsing until, you know, you're out of wherever it is that you feel like you know, you need to be away from. But if we make it fun, if we make it, you know, enjoyable to a degree, and we stop, you know, just complaining about every bit of it, it can be more enjoyable. It can be a delightful experience. So food, that's interesting. What I eat fuels me. I eat the best foods accessible to me. I infuse my food with love and gratitude before eating, visualizing the nutrients I'm consuming and the love that went into growing and preparing this food. There you go. So be grateful. Infuse your food, whatever it is you're eating, with love, you know, and gratitude, and be grateful for the people that you know, picked your food, that put it on your table, that, you know, from farm to table, right? I mean, I think there's actually a restaurant nearby called Farm to Table. That's funny. I just looked over and this poor tree is getting a haircut. Sorry, I just saw this big whoosh come down. It's like, oh. But anyways, but yeah, you know, like from farm to table, right? People pick your food, people pack your food, you know, they sit out in the hot sun doing all this stuff for you. And some of them don't even make that much money. So, you know, be grateful. Be grateful. Show gratitude from everything, even the meat that's on your table. Whenever a Native American, and I only know this from the movies, but I also have read books where, you know, they talk about these things. So I'm sure other cultures do this, but Native Americans, when they kill their food, they thank it for it, you know, for it, basically everything it's going to do for this family. You know, so, you know, even though my meat does not have a face, it comes in styrofoam and plastic. Okay, I'm sorry. I know. I love animals so much, but I am such a carnivore. I am a legit carnivore. I'm not ashamed of it. I just feel bad about it to a degree because I do love animals so much. And ironically, cows are one of my favorite animals. I know. People used to ask me, how does it work? I'm like, they're cute and they taste good too. So I know. And it's, you know, I know there are people out there who are vegetarians and vegans and all that. And you know, I do feel bad to some degree, but I am a carnivore. But I do thank my food. You know, I am grateful for, you know, the sacrifice that they have made. So, and I do try to do, you know, buy the humane stuff. I know they're like, how's that humane? So, you know, if you're a vegetarian and all that, I get it. I totally get it. But remember, when you're eating a vegetable, you know how they die and wilt in the fridge? That's because they're still kind of alive. So I'm not the only one. See? Didn't see that coming, did you? So let's turn the guilt back around. New adventures. New adventures. All right. So this is the last one. New adventures. Today I open myself up to new adventures. I go out and do something I've been holding back from. I move through the fear rather than let it control me. I trust my intuition and follow my desires. That kind of goes with this one, right? So here you go. Write down your 10 things. Pick one or as many as you feel compelled to do, and then do it. Do it. Just do it. Okay? Because this one says so. This one says so. I wasn't going to go do anything today, but I feel like I probably should get out of the house for a little while. So I'll probably go out and do something. I don't know. Very, very briefly. I'm still tired. You're probably like, why are you tired? Are you old? Well, I am older, but I did a lot of driving this weekend. I drove home, then I drove to the wedding, which was not close. And then I drove back from the wedding, and then I drove back to my dad's house. So driving takes a lot because there's traffic in this world. But yeah, I got lucky yesterday. I didn't really hit much traffic. So anyways, I'm poofing into other directions now mentally. So Cousin Jeannie, thank you for coming on today. I thought I was going to be alone. I don't know what happened to older sibling. I think she fell back asleep because she asked me to wake her up, and then you know, I called her and she, you know, she sounded like she was ready to go back to sleep too. So, so yes, thank you, Cousin Jeannie, for coming on. If anybody else came on and I didn't see you, I apologize. I don't always see who comes on unless you comment. And so even then, sometimes, I don't know, the magic of the other realm or something. There are times when entire conversations are happening and I see nothing coming across the screen. So, you know, it happens, right? But anyways, I hope all of you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. You know, take note about these self-care things. These were a little different than we normally have. You know, go out there and play. Go out there and discover something new. You know, if there's something you haven't done before, go out and do it. Try it. I was thinking maybe I'll go out for a little bit and I'll come back, and on my way back, I'll stop at the pool so I don't feel so guilty of driving down there. Yes, I really did last year. Oh, there she is. Older sibling finally came on, but the show is over now. So anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you again so much for watching. Thank you again, Cousin Jeannie, for coming on. Thank you, older sibling, for popping on. I'm sorry that you came in at the end. Yeah, so Cousin says that she loves these self-care tips, so I'm just going to roll back through them one more time. Dance it out. All is okay, okay? Hold yourself in love, no matter what you're feeling. Hold lightly. Things come and go. Learn how to go with the flow, because, you know, change is constant. Even when we don't like it, even though we try not to think about it, change is always happening. All right, play. Go out there and play. Do something fun, because playing, right, follow your joy, and new adventures are all part of playing. And last but not least, food. So, no, you know, I'm not going to tell you how to eat, because I am not the greatest person when it comes to that. I struggle with my own issues with eating. But whatever you do, even if you go eat a burger from a fast food joint, just show some gratitude. You don't have to pray over your food if you're not the kind of person that prays. But just, you know, just thank you for this meal and all the people involved in bringing it to me, including the people that just handed it to you. All right, there's nothing wrong with showing gratitude for that. That's why people pray before meals. They're being grateful for what they have. And like I said, if you're not a person who prays before your meal, then just, you know, I'm so happy and grateful for the food in front of me and all the people it took to get it to this, you know, to this spot in front of me. So there you go. All right, have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, tomorrow I have something very special planned, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited about it. It's going to be, like I said, I ask that you come with an open mind, because it is going to require an open mind. But not as open-minded as you think. We're not going to get overly metaphysical. We're just going to look at some things that we don't normally look at when it comes to grief. All right, so grief is not the subject, but it does entail grief. Okay, so again, have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public. Anybody can watch under Shelly Marie Lucas, and you can find me across the social media board. All right, have a great day, everybody, and thank you again to the two girls, cousin and sibling, for coming on. Have a great day.